Stonehenge, which is not that old actually. It's only
3,500 years old.
Yeah, it's not old.
World Heritage Site.
It's not older than the pyramids.
No.
And it's not quite as impressive as the pyramids.
No.
I'm not denigrating Stonehenge. I'm just saying it is a World Heritage Site. Yeah. It's a British World Heritage, English World Heritage Site.
Everybody goes there for the first time goes, oh, I'm disappointed with that.
Really?
Of course you did, yeah. I did.
We're kind of taking the sting out of this story, really. Anyway, the Just Stop Oil protesters went and sprayed it with an orange food dye, I think it was. And it was very heartening to see a couple of local people jump and drag them off. Yeah. And I think that's happening more and more with these grotty Just Stop Oil protesters. And they were saying, and then afterwards the Just Stop Oil people said, we're doing this to raise awareness of oil, big oil and all that sort of stuff, and we've not damaged them. But then apparently the Stonehenge custodians said, you are damaging them because they have a very, very rare lichen growing on them. And in order to get that stuff off it, that stuff itself may damage the lichen, or in order to get it off, they may damage the lichen. The lichen protects the stone. So they've actually damaged one of our...
And I believe they've been studying this lichen for decades.
Oh, really?
That's what I
read. Yeah. So they've actually done some quite serious damage to a national monument. But I think whilst that was something, and I'm sure most people's reaction to that is that's just totally unnecessary, outrageous. What was interesting is J.K. Rowling, who is finding her voice more. I know you're not particularly a fan of J.K. Rowling.
I'll tell you something about her.
Yeah. But I think that I just throw that in your general misogyny, Nick, rather than specifically a dislike of J.K.
It's not misogyny to dislike a woman. It's misogyny to dislike all women.
Yes, Well, yes, true. You only dislike 98% of women, so that's fine. So I'm sure he'll defend himself shortly when I give him a chance. J.K. Rowling, who I actually like, because when I started to wake up pre-COVID, she just started to be vocal about the trans issue, and
I might not like her at the end of this,
and about the child mutilators, who are the trans lobby, basically. So she's now waded into the argument about the Just Stop Oil, saying basically joking that the Just Stop Oil protesters are basically paid by big oil because they never actually do any harm or any damage to any major oil business anywhere in the world, which I thought, whilst was funny, it's also incredibly true.
Yeah.
Because they're actually not doing anything at any point to impact or affect any of the major oil producers or any of the major climate change damaging countries such as China. They're not doing anything in those areas. They're doing it in areas that don't affect big oil at all. So I think there's kind of two questions here. One is, A, don't you agree with me? J.K. Rowling is fantastic. And B, is there a grain of truth in what she's saying?
No and no. So the first one is J.K. Rowling amazing. Did you read her tweet 2 days ago?
No.
Advising everybody to vote for the Communist Party of Great Britain?
No.
Oh, well.
Really?
You're a communist supporter, you, mate.
Anna didn't tell me that. My wife didn't tell me. Well, you know I'm not on
Twitter. I had to go into her profile to make sure it wasn't a fake version of her.
Oh, really?
Because I thought, no, this is a parody account of someone. But I had a blue tick, I thought.
You can buy a blue tick now.
Yeah. But then I went into it making sure, because this is probably a joke. I made myself look like an idiot if I comment on a joke. Went into it and the Twitter account had 10.5 million followers. And I thought, no, that is J.K. Rowling.
I think she's got more than 10.5 million followers.
Well, that was enough to make me think it was her.
Ronaldo's got 500 million.
Right, I have no idea.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll check after this.
She has just advised people to vote for the Communist Party of Great Britain.
Why?
She didn't say. She just something about don't vote for the main parties, they're all as bad as each other.
Yeah.
I would suggest you check out and then Communist Party of Great Britain.
Really?
So.
But before I dismiss that, I need to look at the Communist Party of Great Britain's manifesto. Because I don't want to treat them unfairly, do I?
You go, Conrad. Then let's talk about Just Stop Oil.
Next week, Nick's going to be a member of the Communist Party of Great Britain.
I can put my Shane pictures back.
You can embrace
the circle.
You can embrace the ideology you've always embraced.
So Just Stop Oil.
Yeah. Well, is that the bit that is going to turn me off J.K. Rowling?
Yeah. That she wants people to vote for the communists.
That doesn't diminish it.
See, just because a person has a view you like doesn't mean you like everything else they stand for.
I agree.
Hitler was a vegetarian
yes.
and loved animals.
Yes.
That's not enough to make people like Hitler.
No,
so just because J.K. Rowling years ago was very, very anti-man.
Yeah.
Very anti-man.
No, but for example, Piers Morgan, I like some of his views. Yeah. I don't like the man.
Yeah.
Gary Lineker, who I despise, he's made some really intelligent comments about Gareth Southgate recently. Basically saying he's an idiot. So I like Gary Lineker's comments there. I don't like Gary Lineker, the man, and I don't like who do I say? Piers Morgan, the man.
Well, you talk about J.K. Rowling as if she's a second coming.
Yes. Yeah. She's almost a saint in my eyes, Nick.
Before I comment and she takes me to court.
Yes.
Let's talk about Just Stop Oil.
Yeah.
I get her.
By the way, JK, I did once email your website after you'd made a bold statement about the trans community, and one of your very kind staff emailed me back and said thank you.
Yeah.
You didn't, but one of your very kind staff did. But if you have a chance to look over those emails and respond personally, I'd be happy to pop up for a coffee.
Yeah, they were based in Cuba.
Yes, probably a communist. Yeah. Thank you very much, comrade. Yeah.
Type harder. Just Stop Oil. I get her point. And it's quite funny, and it's like, oh, then I've thought of that before, did I? My understanding. This is where I'm going to go a little bit off topic a little bit now with Just Stop Oil. What I think the long-term strategy of Just Stop Oil and all those eco-lunatics is this, and this will explain why they do what they do. They want to annoy the British public so much, and that's why they go for our historical sites, our artwork. That's why they don't go to the oil refineries and stuff like that. They want to upset us. They want somebody, and several of us, to turn to violence.
On them?
On them. The people doing it don't. They've got no idea they're being used.
Oh, I see.
But the people behind the scenes, the eco-lunatics who are terrorists, want violence. They want these people to be assaulted and run over by a car, and they're hoping one or two of them will be killed. That then is the excuse they need to raise their game and then be a violent terrorist eco-lunatic group. They won't call themselves Just Stop Oil, then they'll be called something else, and their defence will be, we've got to do this now because look, you killed 3 of our people who were protected, who were just damaging a picture in the Louvre.
Yeah, they weren't doing any harm.
Yeah. They're waiting for some of them to die so they can turn to violence.
That's interesting.
Before 9/11, before the Islamists hit the scene like they have done, the number one terrorist group on the FBI watch list and MI5 watch list in the UK was eco-green terrorism.
Really?
They were being investigated because they were saying, intelligence were going, these people are going to turn to violence. We can see it coming. They've done it before in the 70s. This is the way they go. Then Islam hit the scene and they got ignored. And I think this is what they're doing and why they're doing it.
And these, because I noticed the perpetrators at Stonehenge, one was an old Indian bloke, probably an ex-doctor. They're usually retired doctors, middle-class arses or whatever, who he could barely stand up. He wasn't even strong enough to hold up the fire extinguisher. So they're being used as unwitting tools by this kind of quite sinister organisation that sits behind them. That's interesting. And I think, and actually, those are the people who are quite easy to kill, aren't they? If you've got some old bloke, some old Indian bloke, ex-doctor, sitting in the middle of the road, he is a target to be hit by, because people are getting furious about their behaviours.
And that's why they keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, because they want violence, they want some of them to be hurt and killed, so they can excuse what they're doing next.
Yeah, because it is predominantly, you're making a really interesting point, it is predominantly little old ladies and little old men. Because there were 2 old ladies doing something, I can't remember what it was.
The Magna Carta.
The Magna Carta on the case, trying to, just doing that. And you can imagine, they could be quite easily attacked and killed, I would imagine, by somebody, eventually. Because people are just getting more and more outraged by them, aren't they?
There would be a snapping point.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? So you're saying they reach that point, then they form a new organisation. and say, right, well, we're now far more radical, and we have to be now.
Yeah.
And our excuse is that you're killing us. All we're trying to do.
We need to stop looking at these groups thinking they're just idiots. We need to look behind it and go, let's presume they're intelligent. What could they get out of doing what they're doing?
Yeah.
Because these people are not idiots. They're not smashing these things up knowing they keep upsetting everybody and everybody hates them even more. They know that's not going to change anything. There has to be other reasons. Thinking people are nutcases and stupid and idiots is far too easy an answer, and it makes us think, well, we're better than them because they're just idiots. No, it just means we're not clever enough to think of what they're really trying to achieve. I could be wrong, but they're trying to achieve something.
Yes. Yeah,
that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And actually, people like J.K. Rowling, who we both adore, she in kind of is fueling that fire, isn't she? Because if her voice becomes anti Just Stop Oil, people will feel more inclined to take action against them, won't they? Because it becomes a general consensus. These people.
Why else are they stopping ambulances?
Yeah,
makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Unless their aim is to upset us so much, they must know that's leading to violence. That must be what they want.
Yeah. That's interesting.
They've started attacking our historical places now.
Yeah.
You know, the Magna Carta,
yeah.
Stonehenge. You know, we're already under attack for mass immigration and the woke agenda.
Yeah.
And now they're trying... They're going to reach a point. They also want to see the collapse of Western democracy and Western capitalism. That's what all these groups have in common.
Yeah.
And it's quite ironic they attacked Stonehenge because their ultimate aim is to have us living back in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's...
We could be living there if they weren't damaging it, couldn't they? Yeah. In a few years' time. I know, it is, I mean, I just find them really grotesque, the Just Stop Oil guys.
Did you like that video? I think you did. Hit the bell, give it a big thumbs up, comment, and don't forget, I'm standing for election in Oldham East and Saddleworth. So please share this video, speak to your family and friends if you live in Greater Manchester, and if you live in Oldham East and Saddleworth, make sure you vote for me. Catch you soon.